Hi guys, welcome back to the Do It Yourself YouTube channel and another electrical based video for you today. If this is the sort of video you like to see, hit that subscribe button for me, and there's loads more DIY videos coming soon too. So in this one, I'm going to be showing you how to put outside lights up, in this case 2 outside lights, but it'll apply to 1 outside light as well. One thing to consider though, if you're not confident in electrical work, this one might be best left to an electrician. If you're confident and if you have a basic understanding of electrical circuits, then that's about all you need to do this job. So today I'm going to be putting 2 of these PIR up and down lights up either side of this garage door. This will work for any outside lights, whether they be PIR lights or lights on a switch. We're going to have a fuse connection unit with a switch on it, which will be left on permanently, but you can just add a switch into your circuit. So if you're a subscriber on the channel, you'll know I always go through what tools you're going to need for each job. This one's a little bit difficult because it'll vary in your individual scenario, but what I would say is you're going to need a bag of varied electrical tools, snips, strippers, all that sort of thing, screwdrivers, obviously you're going to need some wire, and your general consumables that you'd use for electrical work. You're also going to need an SDS drill and some SDS drill bits to go through the wall. Obviously you're going to need a ladder, probably an extension lead and a level, and then of course you're going to need varied screws and hand tools and things like that as well. Oh, and a silicone gun to seal up the holes that you're going to make. So the first thing you want to do is mark out where you want these lights to go. Obviously what's on the back of the wall is going to dictate some of that as well. I'm going to measure up in the middle of this pillar here, find the place for the light. You can use the laser level across the door to get them both in the same place. Obviously this will depend on your individual scenario where you're going to put the lights, but just plan it out, mark it so that we can put a hole through the wall. Right, so dummy up where your light wants to go, obviously hold it in position so you're happy with it, and consider what's on the other side of the wall. So make a rough mark where you want your hole for your cable to go through. So drill a hole big enough to fit 1.5mm twin and earth through the wall. Bear in mind, if you're drilling through a wall with a cavity, it's not good practice to leave bare cable through a cavity, so you'll need to knock through some conduit and then push the cable through that. Right, so when we're drilling this hole, we need to drill from the outside, because if we drill from the inside we'll blow the brick out. So drill from the outside so we don't damage the face of the brick as much. And we'll angle the drill bit upwards slightly. Reason for that is we don't want water to track back through the hole. We're going to put some silicone in there anyway. If you have the drill bit pointing downward or straight even, water can find its way into the building easier. So what we need to do now is put the wire through the wall, and we'll leave the tail hanging out for now. Obviously we're doing 2 lights. If you're only doing 1, well, forget that. Makes a difference.
You only need to drill 1 hole.
Yeah. Brilliant.
I want that to be in the video.
Right, plan out your cabling and leave it all loose for now. We're daisy chaining from one light to the other, so we're just going to leave this long. For now these cables can just be left loose. Just get yourself a plan in your head where you want all the cables to go before you start fixing anything to the brickwork. So this cable here we're going to route into our feed. Just leave that long for now and snip it off. The first thing you need to do before we do any other steps is to actually check that the circuit is not live and that we've isolated any power to the garage. So in this situation you've got power coming up into this fuse connection unit here. If you actually test, you've got power when that switch is on. When it's off, everything is actually dead, so we're safe to work on the circuit. In your case, you might actually have to turn it off on your consumer unit indoors. A couple of ways of doing this. You could use a junction box onto a ring main if you don't have a lighting circuit near where you want to put your new circuit, but you need to make sure you down fuse it with a 5 amp fuse in another fused connection unit if you do it that way, or you could come off the lights that are already there, depends on your scenario. This way we're going to take the feed off this fused connection unit here and then into our switch. Okay, so we're going to make a little hole in here, these just knock out, and this is so that we can run our cable down through the bottom here. Grab yourself a bit of cable, feed that up, just leave it long for now. And if you know where your switch is going to go, just chop it off. So now you should have cables roughly planned out and just hanging loose where you think you're going to need them to go. So we're going to fix this pattress box, surface mounted to the wall here, and we're going to replace the 13 amp fuse in the switched spur to a 5 amp fuse for our lighting circuit. Make sure you do that, don't leave the 13 amp fuse in. You can use metal ones of these if you're doing this in a shed or somewhere where you think you could need something a bit more durable. You could use the metal ones. If you get the plastic ones, you'll need to just knock out with a screwdriver, knock out these little blank pieces here. They just smash out, much like that one did, and then you can fix that to the wall. Get that wherever you want it. Just mark them holes. Yourself a couple of wall plugs, knock them in. Don't over tighten this because you'll just crack the plastic on the back of the box. Just finish them off by hand, not with the impact driver, like I say, otherwise you'll end up cracking it. Then what you want to do is just knock through this section here to bring your cable up and into this box. Obviously your scenario might differ and you might have to use one of the side panels to bring the cable in. When the box is fixed to the wall, just get your cable roughly in place so you know where you're going to be putting it. Something like that, then we'll clip that cable in place. Clip it with these cable clips, or you could use some kind of conduit if you prefer to do it that way. Run the cable inside it and just nail them in. Snip the wire to length, strip it back. Remove the outer sleeve of the wire, just like that. Expose the wires, and the unsleeved wire should always be sleeved in yellow and green earth sleeving. Now on the back of the fused connection unit, you've got live, neutral and an earth terminal, and you want to put them all in the same ones on the outside, not the feed. Neutral to neutral. Live with the live. Bear in mind, if you've got the old colours, your property might be older than this one, your lives might be red and your neutrals might be black. Obviously in this case a live is brown, neutral is blue. Now if you're using a metal back box, you'll need to earth the box. And once you've got all them in, just give them all a pull, because sometimes when you put multiple wires in these terminals, they can actually come loose. Now we're going to repeat the process on this one. Right, so once you've got your 5 amp fuse in for your lighting, we're going to use this fuse spur. On the back here, you've got load and supply. So where we took it from our supply here, that goes into the supply side, and then you've got load, which is going to feed our lights. So this wire here, you need to put the live supply in, neutral supply in, and earth supply in. If you're doing it from a junction box, it would be much the same. That would then be your supply. So once you're happy with that, put the screws in and tighten them up. That's our first light here, the first light in the daisy chain. Going to run that wire down this wall and across into our fused connection unit there. You can do this in either the bottom, the top or the sides, any of these hollow sections. Happy with where this wire is going, we'll start tacking the wire in place now. As you're working your way along with the clips, just run the cable to the shape that you want it, to wherever your light's going to be, and obviously using the mortar to put the clips in. Try and make it look as neat as you can. Snip your cable at the length, and much like we did last time, just strip it back. Right, so then on the load side, we're obviously going to go earth to earth, and then again neutral on the load, and live on the load side. To fix the faceplate back in place, we don't need access to that anymore. What we're going to do now is daisy chain off that first light, and we're going to be bringing a wire across the top of the garage door. You can skip this next step and move straight to the bit where I fit this light if you're only putting your one light up. What we're going to do is run this cable across the top of the garage door and daisy chain it into the back of the other light. Right, so you can see the cable for the second light over there has been run across the top of the garage door, and we're dropping it down the wall here, through the wall to daisy chain into the first light. So now we're going to show you how to fit the lights on the wall and wire them up. And this is where you'll resume if you're only doing one light. Your light fitting will probably be completely different, but the principles are pretty much the same. So follow the instructions for fitting your light, because some of these are going to differ. Right, grab yourself some silicone sealant and put it in the hole around the cables. Don't over tighten the screws because you'll crack the plastic. Finish them by hand. We're daisy chaining this light to the one the other side of the garage door, but if you've just got one light, you'd only need to strip back one wire and wire it into the live, neutral and earth. In our case, we need to strip both and daisy chain them, so both lives in to the live, both neutrals into the neutral, both earths into the earth. We need to just wire this in, live to live. Neutral with neutral. Check them all in properly. Obviously, if you're doing two lights, repeat the process on this side. Right guys, so once you've done all your wiring, fix your light fitting back in place. Obviously if you're doing two, that applies to both. So a moment of truth. And you can see that they both work perfectly. Obviously the PIR sensors have got to be set yet. Make sure you test everything properly, and yeah, jobs are good. Right guys, thanks for watching another do-it-yourself YouTube video. Hopefully this helped you out. If it did, hit that subscribe button. There's going to be loads more content like this coming out, electrical videos, plumbing videos, all that sort of thing. So make sure you're subscribed. Put the bell notifications on, give us a like, and I'll see you guys in the next one.